There was no requirement for it from his case. Sort of once every 3 weeks I wrote about it, and I kept thinking. And then I followed a pattern. He used to see his lady once every 3 weeks before he got married.
Consider how extraordinary this conversation is. This was only the second time Diana had ever met Peter Sutherland. And here they are, Her Royal Highness the Princess of Wales and a former actor sharing secrets of the royal bedroom on camera. She talks about some very personal things.
Well, as we now know, she'd done it with for the Andrew Morton book on one level. In a sense, maybe doing that had helped her understand who she was. I mean, whether it's therapy or talking to your best friend about what's really upsetting you, you feel better afterwards.
Princess Diana herself was the principal source for that explosive 1992 book by Andrew Morton. It was part of her strategy to reshape the public's opinion of her and her life. But the princess never meant these tapes to become public, and Sutherland has been intensely criticized for deciding to release them.
I don't want to denigrate Diana. I'm trying to give the public an opportunity. Finally, okay. You see for yourself. Because these people are spoiling not just the work that I did with her, but using it again to kind of diminish her. And I don't think that's right.
Why would she agree to be taped talking about her deepest secrets to Peter Sutherland, a man she barely knew?
Because Diana lacked a happy and secure domestic base, it seemed to me that she very often wasn't very discriminating in who she confided in.
Patrick Jeffson should know. He was Diana's private secretary for 6 years. He has just published a book about her called Portraits of a Princess. She needed to speak. She needed to be heard. He was there. But she allowed him to videotape her. That's the difference.
She was under a great deal of stress, and like anybody under stress, she wanted to unload. And there weren't that many people she could unload on.
The princess was about to be even more indiscreet, offhandedly revealing the story of a private showdown she'd had with the Queen over Camilla Parker Bowles, the woman Diana thought had stolen her husband.
She felt that there was a basic conspiracy inside the royal family, amongst friends, courtiers, bodyguards, valets, to deceive her about the presence of Camilla in her life. So it was a canker that ate away at her.
By 1985, Diana told Sutherland she had had enough.
I went to the top lady.
The top lady, otherwise known as Her Majesty. It was a bold move. According to Morton, Diana was in awe of her mother-in-law and terrified of her as well.
The Queen always had tremendous amount of authority and power in Diana's life, and Diana made an effort to understand her, but never could. She always used to say to me that she found her kind of baffling, this kind of stoical way that she just behaved. And the style of Diana was very, very different to the style of the Queen.
But if Diana had hoped to get support from the Queen, she was sorely disappointed. According to the princess, the Queen turned a cold shoulder to her appeal for help.
The princess described an emotional scene inside the walls of Buckingham Palace.
And I was sobbing, and I said, what do I do? I'm coming to you, what do I do? And she said, I don't know what you should do. Draw the papers. And that was it. That was help. So I didn't go back to her again for help, because I don't go back again if I don't get it the first time. And so over the years, Diana never talks to me. I never know what's going on. Silly girl.
Diana said she went to the Queen and asked for help in her marriage, and she didn't get any.
When Diana said that she didn't get any help from the Queen, I think we have to treat that with a pinch of salt. The way in which perhaps the senior members of the royal family tried to advise her was one which she found quite difficult to work with.
Why?
There was a generational difference. There was a difference of attitude, and for a lot of the time, there wasn't enough common ground. Diana was angry. She felt isolated and let down.
There's just nobody to physically scream at, or someone put their arms around me, just listen. When I cry, I can't bear people to say, it can't be as bad as that, or we understand. Nobody understands unless you're the individual concerned.
It had begun as a casual conversation between a speech coach and his student. By now, Diana's interview with Peter Sedlin had become an extraordinary window into the private life of one of the world's most intriguing women. It's interesting to watch her face. It's as if, watching her face, one could surmise that she is relishing, enjoying, maybe needing this attention, needing to talk about these stories.
Well, the thing is, we got on. And, you know, we talked, and she would twinkle, and I was twinkling. I mean, she had a fantastic smile. So if she smiled, I would smile, she'd smile back. And so you get to a place which is, you're having a nice time.
The revelations came one
Traumatized me.
after another.
So I took it out on myself.
From a woman looking back on some of the worst years of her life,
Each time I stopped down, I came back up again.
to a man she hardly knew. Why did she do it? Were these the outbursts of a frustrated and reckless woman pushed past the point of caring? Or, after so many years of emotional isolation, was Diana just relieved to have a sympathetic ear? Or maybe this. Was she so happy that she had finally broken free of a royal prison that she couldn't help talking about it?
But I do feel, Peter, that I won the their own game. Now.
Now that you've taken 11 years of your life.
And victory came just in time. Diana recalls how in her misery she'd become self-destructive.
When I was bulimic, I wasn't angry because the anger, I thought, was coming out that way.
When Diana Revealed continues.
And you know, when you asked me the question...
Princess Diana had started this exercise with Peter Sedlin to find her true voice. That wouldn't be easy because by now she'd spent years acting like someone else. Deep in despair, isolated, and alone in Kensington Palace, Diana still continued to play out the royal fairy tale. As she continued her story, Sedlin realized how much the double life she'd been leading had helped to bury the person she really was.
When it comes to a drama, I can only sort myself out. I can't get anybody else to sort me out.
How the parade she marched in public, with hospital visits, gallery openings, and grand foreign tours, was bitterly resented in private.
And I think that was what many people found very difficult to appreciate about Diana. She was always smiling, but beneath that there's an awful lot of despair. And as far as I'm concerned, you know, a picture is worth 1,000 words, but it can also tell 1,000 lies.
You're in isolation, and anything anyone says just doesn't weigh.
She wasn't just unhappy, Diana was also ill, with a severe eating disorder. Bad as that was, Diana said the royal family added insult to injury by blaming her troubles with Charles on the bulimia, and not the other way around.
And they all blamed the failure of the marriage on the bulimia, and that's taken some time to get them to think differently. I said I was rejected, I didn't think I was good enough for this family, so I took it out on myself. I said I could have gone to alcohol, which would have been obvious. I could have been anorexic, which would have been even more obvious. I decided to do a more discreet thing, which ultimately wasn't discreet, but I chose to hurt myself instead of hurting all of you.
She was right that it wasn't discreet anymore. In 1986, Diana fainted at a public appearance in Canada.
The one thing was, when I was bulimic, I wasn't angry because the anger, I thought, was coming out that way, and it always felt better after being sick to get rid of the anger. I'd be very passive afterwards, very quiet.
Actually, the anger was coming out another way, too. By the early 1990s, Diana and Charles were visibly distant, even irritated with one another. They continued to play their royal parts, but it was painfully obvious they were just acting, and not very well at that.
It was becoming quite obvious to us who were working for them that it was becoming impossible to project them as a harmonious couple.
Diana had finally taken steps to change things. By 1992, it had become clear to her, to Charles, and to everyone else in the royal family that the two of them needed to live separate lives. Now, working with Peter Sedlin, she was ready to take the next step, to leave behind her glassy royal image and let the real Diana shine through.
Virginia, I'm only trying to highlight a problem that's going on all around the world.
Not just to visit sick children, but to demand the world pay attention to them.
I met children who had suffered the most horrendous injuries.
Not just to record her good looks, but to listen to what she had to say.
The essential thing is not to have won,